Hey everyone, welcome back to The Fin Factor. I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
And this is episode number 78.
78, only one player, Ben Ferrier.
We actually got one, that's great.
Yeah,
wow.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, we're kind of running out of players at this point.
We're definitely running out, so this might come to a brief end here soon.
We gotta wait till we get back up to 88, 81, right?
Right.
We know those got some players behind them.
Who?
Anyway, who? Yeah, I don't know. Hey, so this week we'll be talking about, obviously, the week in review, as well as some kind of hot topics. We got EK65 done for the season. It is unfortunate.
Yep, and we'll also talk about Kane's suspension for 3 games and player safety, kind of, maybe a little overhaul and what we should do, or what we think they should do. Some trade rumors and the week ahead, and a little bit of fantasy hockey at the end.
Good. You ready to start the show?
Ready.
Okay, well, your response lacked enthusiasm, creativity, and I was generally uninspired, and for that reason, I'm out. Aaron said I sound like Mark Cuban. I wish I was Mark Cuban.
I wish I had Mark Cuban's money.
A whole bunch of money. Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's take a look at the week in review here. So the first game we're just kind of gloss over real fast. The Calgary game was a 6-2 loss. It was generally, again, uninspired hockey, and for that reason, I turned the TV off. But yeah, it was
just like I said last week.
That is
going into a break. At least for this season, the Sharks have not played well. I feel like they play like. Like when you're about to go on a 2-week long vacation and it's your last day of work before you go. Are you the kind of person that's very motivated and very productive? Or are you the kind of person that's going, man, did I pack this? Did I pack that? No, I can't. You can't think of work. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Yeah.
That's what I feel like the entire team was like,
right.
Except Aaron Dell. I thought he played as well as he could
in a 6-2 loss.
Yes.
Yeah. No, and it's funny.
He seemed to get hung out to dry a lot.
It's funny because Aaron Dell started that game, and then they went right back to him. Now, granted, I believe it was a Monday game going all the way down to, what was it, the Thursday? Friday game?
Friday.
Yeah, so there's plenty of days in between there, and they went right back to Aaron Dell. And in this game, they play Winnipeg. They actually go down 2-1 after having a lead, and then they come back, and they end up winning the game 3-2. So pretty good job by the Sharks in that game there. There's kind of a hot topic on that one. Again, we'll get back to that one a little bit later on. Evander Kane with a high hit and getting suspended for 3 games. That'll be a topic for later. But I think in this game, it was one of those games where they again played pretty well defensively, and they did a good job of taking back the lead, securing it, shutting it down.
Oh well, yeah, they were up 1-0 on kind of a weird goal to begin with, right?
Yeah,
they got reviewed, and then you could read Paul Maurice's lips if you wanted to go back there. And then the Winnipeg came back and they scored 2 quick goals. I want to say it was like maybe a minute apart.
Pretty fast.
Maybe even less. So you're thinking, oh great, here we go again. Yeah. The Sharks are just getting stomped on now. But to their credit, they hung in there, played well, they kept fighting, and they scored 2 kind of quick goals of their own to take the lead back 3-2. Now the last, maybe even more than the last 2 minutes of that game was absolutely bananas. If you didn't watch this, you need to go back and just watch the last 2 minutes. There were, I don't know how many chances. Kyle Connor somehow missed a practically wide open net. I don't know if Burns got his stick on it, deflected it just a little bit.
I don't think he did. I think he just hit the post.
It was embarrassing almost. Yeah. It was awful. And the announcer even said he's going to have nightmares about this. And then there was another chance that went off of his own player's skate, I believe, to block it from another empty net, practically. So it was a wild finish. You need to go watch it if you haven't seen it. Or at least just watch the highlights and you'll see a little bit of it.
For sure. So that ended up being a good game, picking up 2 more points. Right?
That's a regulation win.
I'll take it all day long. So then we go and we play against
Minnesota.
That's my favorite thing to say. If you're from Minnesota, I apologize. But
sorry, Lundy.
There you go. So lo and behold, now again, let's do the recap here. We're missing Logan Couture. We're missing Tomas Hertl. We're missing now Evander Kane from the previous game, getting a 3-game suspension. And during the game, we lose Erik Karlsson. So we are depleted, right? And what do the Sharks do? Oh, by the way, they've not played Aaron Dell, who is the hot hand in this game either.
Right.
They put in Jones. Right, so obviously, anytime you put Jones in, you get the Twitter sphere saying,
"Yeah." How many of you wrote them off going into that game, going, I'm not even going to watch. It's going to be murdering by the Minnesota Wild. So you can go ahead and comment on that.
You're missing key players, and your goaltender is the goaltender that seemingly the fan base doesn't really have any faith in. And what do? First shutout of the season. 2-0 win. And you called this a blue-collar win.
Definitely. It was a hard-working win. We were looking over the highlights right before we were recording this to kind of refresh everything, and you could see, I paused it and showed Paul, I was like, look at this. Compared to when Pete DeBoer was coaching, a different strategy. Yeah. Martin Jones gets into trouble. The puck is kind of bouncing around right in front of him, that slot area, very dangerous area. And what do we see? In this situation, 5 Sharks all right there. They're taking away everything in the middle, pushing everything to the play on the outside, and Martin Jones, 38, 39 saves.
39 saves. I think,
when he gets a lot of puck on him like that, and they're kind of perimeter shots, he does well. He sees the puck, he feels the puck, he's getting better, and he seems to play better when he gets more shots on goal. We've talked about this over and over and over. Like, how many times maybe they should just let some of those shots go.
I think the guys on the podcast just heard my sigh on that one. But what we were talking about earlier was, when he absorbs more shots, he seems to play better. And I was saying, well, it doesn't really matter if we don't know if he's going to take more shots, in the first 5 minutes of the game, because sometimes, they'll let in a goal right away, and then, maybe they'll get another 38, 39 shots on him. But in this case, yes, he was getting lots of shots from the perimeter. He was feeling the puck, and this is something that I've said about Martin Jones. I feel like he kind of needs to get the feel of the puck to get in the game. And I think most goalies really, you want them getting to be a part of the game, get them feeling shots and whatnot, get some confidence going, get yourself into it. And luckily for the Sharks, I guess Martin Jones had enough of those shots to start the game off because he shut it down. He got again, first shutout of the season.
It's interesting.
It's the guy that you're not expecting.
Yeah, and Aaron Dell doesn't have a shutout this season. I'm not saying he's playing poorly. He's playing well, but he still doesn't have a shutout either.
That is true.
So, yeah. So now, thinking of, we had this question in the live, and then we don't have this written down. Do you go back to Aaron Dell, or do you put Martin Jones in?
Right. So for me, Aaron Dell has taken over as like the 1A. I don't think either one of them are playing like really good starter. They're not playing well enough to be starters in this league right now. Okay, but these are the 2 goaltenders that we have, and between the 2 of them, I think Aaron Dell is still the hotter hand. Now, yes, Martin Jones did pick up a shutout, but it was the first game that he'd played in 2 weeks, 14 games, something like that. I forgot what it was. Or 14 days, not games. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long time, so he had a lot of rest. He had a lot of practice with a goaltending coach of getting to Bakov, so I think that had a lot to do with it. And of course, like you said, the Sharks doing a really good job boxing out and they crashing the net defensively to make sure that there are no big rebounds and pushing the play to the outside. So I think it was a perfect storm for Martin Jones in that game. He happens to pick up the win, not only just the win, but also the first shutout. And I think that's great, but I think Aaron Dell still played better throughout this short stint that we've seen him taking over in terms of being the number 1 on the team currently. So I think you still go back to Aaron Dell, and I would say that if you look at the other way around, if Martin Jones was playing hot and Aaron Dell stepped in for a game after not playing so great and picked up a shutout, would you go back to Dell? No, I would go back to Martin Jones, right? So I think right now with Aaron Dell kind of taking the reins, you're probably going to see him getting the call again. But that's just kind of how I see it. I don't know if Aaron agrees or disagrees. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think they go back to Aaron Dell in the next game. I mean, this show's actually going to come out after the next game, so who knows? True. We could be looking really dumb right now, but who knows? It's hard to speculate on the goalies, especially this season.
Do you want me to guess the score again? Because that worked out pretty well.
Go ahead.
Last time. Do it.
1 o'clock game.
Yeah, 1 o'clock game.
Yeah.
The Sharks don't usually play well.
They're playing
against Florida. I'm going to go 3-2 overtime loss.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'm going to say
3-2 overtime loss.
All right, I'll say 3-1 win.
Okay.
Regulation.
We just jumped right ahead to the week ahead, by the way, but we're just going to anyway, that's all good. So, what's next? Do you want? Is there anything else on that game you wanted to?
No, nothing else on that game.
We're good to go. Okay, so what's the next topic on the board here?
EK65 getting injured. And he's done for the season.
Really unfortunate. Now, it looked like it could have been worse. It looked like what they were speculating was that he had another problem with the leg or with the ankle. That he seemed to go down a little weird. During the play, I believe he kind of fell over Joe Thornton. And when he popped back up, that was the last anyone had seen of him. I think Kurz had tweeted out that he hasn't been missing for the last 13 minutes of the game, whatever it was. Turns out that's not the case, and that's almost better, really, because another foot injury, another leg injury, groin injury,
a soft tissue injury,
anything like that is like the last thing you need from Erik Karlsson right now. Doesn't really matter. He's still out for the rest of the season, but It was a thumb. He broke his thumb. I guess the shot came and hit him in a weird spot, and he just broke his thumb, and that's the end of the season now.
The play's kind of weird because he kind of tripped and fell over, and then the shot came through. So his hands were kind of almost on the ice, and the shot just came in and hit him on the thumb. So it's unfortunate, but I am. We talked about this in the live, and you should join us if you have not seen our lives, because it's fun to interact. But anyway. It's to me, it's a better than another soft tissue injury, because that would, to me, is more of like an injury-prone type person injury.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh, it's 2 seasons in a row. He hasn't played a full season. Well, this could have happened to anybody. Mm-hmm. It's a break. There's nothing he could have done about it. He got hit with the puck directly. Anybody would have broken their thumb on it. It's not like there's superpowers out there on certain players and not on others. So the good thing is it's fixable. He'll be back around May. If the Sharks are in the playoffs and they go on a deep run, he'd be back. But he did mention that he would be playing he would consider playing for Sweden this summer, because he is going to be still practicing. His legs are not broken. It's just his thumb. So I don't know when he's having the surgery, if he had already done it. But he'll be still practicing with the players and keeping his legs going and everything else. So he'll be staying in shape.
Yeah, last I heard he was going to fly to LA to get that procedure done. There's a specific doctor that's worked on other...
Drew Brees was one of them.
There you go.
He just had his surgery, I think, this past season.
I was going to say other sports figures, but yes, there you go.
Yeah, that's one, and there's a couple other ones too. So anyway, it's devastating, as this season could be, right? Like, what else could go wrong?
Don't say
wood,
that.
Right?
Don't say that.
But it par for the season. So now, so he's done. He's gone. In a way, it's almost better that it's a broken thumb, because then there's a timetable.
Yeah.
Versus like a groin injury where he could re-aggravate it, or you don't know when he's going to be back. So this is a lot different of an injury. Same with Logan Couture. Broken ankle. There's a timetable. See how it goes from there, within a matter of a week or two.
And Logan will be back at some point during this season. So the other thing about this that I like, and as much as I can like Erik Karlsson being injured for the rest of the season, is that he'll have the rest of the season as well as the off season. It's a very long off season for him to be able to recover from not just his thumb, but any and all lingering injuries that he has. If that groin is not 100%, if it's 95%, that gives him the opportunity to get that all the way up, ready to rock for the next season. And, again, at this point, we're kind of looking ahead now. So if that is one positive to take away from a broken thumb from a star player on a team that's probably not going to be making playoffs anyway, gives him the opportunity to take the whole rest of the season and off season to get himself back to 100%. So,
right. Hopefully.
There's that. Anyway,
hopefully he doesn't get hurt
from
the championship.
From one EK, we'll shift to the other. Evander Kane, from Erik Karlsson to Evander Kane, EK9. He was suspended 3 games for an elbow, a hit to the head on Pionk of the Winnipeg Jets. Mm-hmm. So that happened earlier, and there was a whole kerfuffle around this thing.
Yeah, so. I think it's definitely a penalty. It was called in the game as elbowing. I don't think it should have gone any further than that. Maybe a fine at most, but I don't think the suspension was really warranted, even with this past history, because it is so inconsistent with everything else around the league that's going on. So I'm going to read a statement that Evander Kane put out on Twitter about this. The fact that NHL Department of Player Safety, headed by George Parros, continue to pick and choose who and what they'll suspend is ridiculous. There have been countless incidents of the same nature through this season and the past seasons that have gone unsuspended or fined. No one person can tell you what is or isn't a suspension in today's game. It's become a complete guess. There's a major lack of consistency with the NHL Department of Player Safety, a completely flawed system in so many ways. From the suspensions to appeal rights, it's baffling to me how we as players agreed to this. You can't continue to give some players a pass and throw the book at others. There has to be an outside third party making these decisions to remove the bias that transpires in the department headed by George Parros. None of it makes any sense. And then he went on to tweet another one. Interesting, if you watch that video, you can go to his Twitter feed and you'll see it. He comes in flying with an elbow. It looks very similar to the one that Kane threw out too, but nothing. That's crazy to me. That we were talking about this a little bit offline too, about how we should revamp it, which is what we'll get into now. But there has to be some kind of consistency, and I feel like for plays like that, anything with the head, because they want to protect the players' heads. They've been kind of hampering down on that lately. Make it like a high sticking call. You are responsible for your stick. Right. If you have a high stick, even if you don't mean to hit somebody, you're still responsible. You still get a penalty. I think the same thing for kind of head hunting, head injuries, hitting people in the head. It's going to make people think twice about how they hit, where they're going to be focusing more on hitting in the chest instead of hitting up high and hitting people in the head on accident. So let's say, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm not going to get into having a number of games, but get a head hit. You hit somebody in the head just like Evander Kane did. That's a 1-game suspension. If you have a history, add another game or two depending on what the history is, right? Have a certain formula that details out, okay, if this happens, then this. If this happens, then this. That way it's a little bit easier for players to understand and fans to understand, okay, he's going to be gone for a couple games. We'll probably guess it'll be like a 3-game suspension or something, right?
Yeah, and it helps remove the idea that there's some sort of bias behind it. If there is no bias behind it, then these other plays that we're talking about and that we're able to see, high elbows from other players on, like, say, Boston's McAvoy in that case. Why is that different? What is the difference? And I think that was even in Kane's tweet. Tell me what the difference is, please. And I think he's got a very valid point there. It looks exactly the same. So, if we're going to say, let's have, an elbow to the head is 1 game or 2 games or whatever it is, then that's what it needs to be, period, right? So if a guy gets elbowed in the head and there is a penalty or isn't a penalty or on the play, it doesn't matter. If that elbow comes up and hits him in the head, I agree with you. You are responsible for your elbow in the same way that you are responsible for your stick. So if that's the case, that's the suspension. That's what it should be every single time. Now you want to add on top of that, okay, you're a repeat offender. You've done it 1 other time before, add a game. 2 other times before, add 2 games. 3 other times, start adding 4.
If it's like another elbowing penalty and you've already been suspended for it, then it's like 2 games, right? Like some kind of formula. Yeah. Suspended for something else, then it's 1 extra game because you're a repeat offender.
Right.
I don't really have all the answers. I'm not like working out the details here, but more of the idea behind it.
But at least one way or the other, if it's a play that is suspendable, you at least know ahead of time. Oh, it was this type of hit with the elbow up. We know that it's 2 games, and that's where all of them start. They all start at 2 games, right? Yeah. At least that would bring some consistency to it. And again, it removes this idea that there's some bias behind it because it doesn't matter who it is. By the rules, if you get hit in the head with an elbow, the guy that hits you is going to get this many games, period.
And I think a perfect person to head this up would be former referee Kerry Fraser. I guess you could say he's unbiased opinion. He's been around the league and been around the players and everyone for a very long time. He knows the game. He knows the rules of the game, more importantly, more than I feel like most other people do. So I think he would be a good person to be the head.
Wait, more than me?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, just checking.
He'd be a good person to head it up and then make it a committee. Yeah. Where you have a former player, then you have a former ref, and then maybe a third different person in there, and you guys can figure it out. I think that would be a good solution, or at least a path to a solution.
See, and I'm a big fan of the ref, and this is actually the exact same guy I was thinking was Kerry Fraser. He's well respected. He had a very long tenure as a ref in the league. And, he's a guy that is by the book, by the rules. And these are, former referees. That's what they have to do. They have to know the rules to the letter. So I think this is one of those things where, he doesn't have to be on the ice making the play in real time. He can step back, take a look at the replay, get it down to, the minute details and be able to say, okay, this is my judgment on this as a former referee in this league. And I think that'd be a big step forward, right? Not an enforcer. Now, again, people were saying, oh, he's an enforcer, he's a goon. What does he know, right? And, George Peros is a very smart guy. Which school did
I forget. He went to one of the Ivy League schools.
Yeah, okay. So an Ivy League school guy. So he's a very intelligent guy, and they wouldn't put a moron at the desk of Department of Player Safety.
Brendan Shanahan was in charge before.
Shanahan Banhammer. That is crazy. Anyway, it's I don't think it disqualifies him in any way, shape, or form because he was an enforcer. Again, he's a very smart guy, but it doesn't really matter if you're the smartest guy. It's just a matter of can you be consistent. Right, so I think that's what this position needs is someone who's going to look at these plays and regardless of who it is or how it happens, when it happens, if that play results in an elbow up to the head or any other type of play that we're talking about a suspendable offense, that player gets suspended. Period. Right.
The other play that was up for debate was the Zdeno Chara cross check to the face of Brendan Gallagher. I mean, this thing, that's ridiculous. Zdeno Chara, for those of you who don't know or are not familiar with him, is 6'9" without skates on. So he's close to 7 feet tall. Brendan Gallagher is not very tall. He's a smaller guy. So the height difference is huge. Mm-hmm. So Brendan Gallagher pushed off of Zdeno Chara.
Yes.
Zdeno Chara turned around and just cross-checked him right in the neck. Like totally intentional. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, right.
He was aiming for it. And just took him out, and he just, falls into a heap. But
see, and my problem is a lot of people will say, well, Chara is just so much bigger, that's why, right?
And it's like Brendan Gallagher cross-checked him first, right?
Yeah. So let me go back on that. I know this is getting away from Sharks, but my problem is you say Brendan Gallagher cross-checks him first. Well, no, he did, and he just gives him a shove. It's not very different from a cross-check. Mm-hmm. He gets his hands on him and just shoves him like, man, come on, back off of me, right? And Chara picks his hands up, gets his stick up high, and cross-checks him. Now, again, he's a bigger guy. I get that. So a lot of the times the defense for him is that, well, he's taller, so he's going to hit people in the head by accident just because he's taller. Look, this isn't a play at speed, people. This is a play where he's standing still. No play is going on. They haven't dropped the puck at the face-off yet, and he's just upset with Gallagher. He literally just raises his stick up, standing still, raises his stick up, boom, hits him right in the neck. And it is in the neck. Some people are trying to, I think Brian Burke was trying to say it's glancing off of his shoulder.
Well, the reason we're bringing this up is there was no suspension.
Thank you.
He got fined, $5,000, which is the maximum under the CBA agreement. So he got fined the maximum amount. That's it.
To me, that is worse than the elbow to the head. I mean, that's not even during play where a player may or may not have accidentally got up there.
It's not the speed of the game excuse that we have,
right?
For certain people, like, oh, he accidentally hit him in the head because of the speed of the game. It happened so fast. No, this was totally deliberate. It should have been a suspension.
And this is where I say Department of what? Player safety. How are you gonna let that slide? Where the tallest, biggest guy in the league, probably one of the strongest in the league, takes a stick and cross-checks a guy in the throat. Like, I don't know. For me, again, this is where we come back to where Evander Kane says, like, he wants consistency. He feels like he's getting picked on, and it's hard to disagree with them when you see things like this. So I'm with him on that one in terms of wanting the consistency. Again, feeling like he's kind of being singled out and there is some bias. I can see it. I understand it. I still think that what he did was a suspendable offense. Getting your elbow up on the head, I don't think that's a play that should be in hockey. And if you are going to do that, you should be expected to get suspended. But my problem is that other guys around the league are not sharing the same outcome, right, as Evander Kane, and it's head scratching. It really is. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure what else there is to say about that one. It's just
nothing else. It just needs to get revamped, which probably would happen during the next CBA agreement.
Right.
That probably won't get changed unless that is brought up at that point. So almost a moot point.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but it is what it is. It needs to get changed.
Very good. Well, moving on from all the controversy, we're going to start talking about the week ahead. We have a game, well, as of this recording, we have a game tomorrow, but as of you guys seeing this, we had a game yesterday, and like we said, we lost 3-2 in overtime, right?
Right.
Okay, there you go. So now you know.
You said that.
I said that. What do you think is going to happen?
I said a 3-1 win.
Well, first of all, who are we playing?
Florida Panthers.
There you go, Florida Panthers.
Bob Bugner's old team.
There you go.
But now...
do you think that gives the Sharks a little extra juice?
The Q stash is there now.
The Q stash.
Yeah, you never heard that?
Okay.
Joe.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I've never heard him called the Q stash.
Oh, really?
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah, that's his nickname.
Okay.
Q stash.
So, do you think that gives the Sharks a little more jam, a little juice?
It's tough to say. I don't know what gives them juice, so it's hard. It's going to be a blue collar win because, again, no Evander Kane. Coach Herr's not ready to come back yet. I mean, these are top end guys.
Yeah.
There's so much money that's not in the game right now on the Sharks' salary. But anyway, it's going to be an interesting game because Florida's a young, fast, very skilled team. Mm-hmm. We'll see how they do when they're on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll play a little part of it, but it's also a 1:00 game. I guess it wouldn't affect them then. Yeah,
well, there
goes that whole theory.
Sharks seem to play bad regardless, even if it's
in the day game,
1 a.m. even local time. There, it's not so hot.
So,
but there's a lot of Barracuda players that'll be playing, right? So who knows? Might be different.
Is it a doubleheader? There's a Barracuda game.
No, I'm
afterwards?
just saying there are a lot of Barracuda players.
No, but I think there is a Barracuda game afterwards that night.
I think you're right, actually. Yeah.
So it'll be a doubleheader over there.
An odd one where the Sharks played before the Barracuda. This
better.
time.
They get better ice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on from that one, I believe we play on Thursday, and we travel. We're going East Coast
Yep.
on this trip. The next 3 games,
It's
all
the New York
in the same
metro area,
That's
basically.
right.
So first game is at New Jersey.
Yeah, and they are star-studded, no?
Oof, they're already trading away people. So it could be a completely different team between now and Thursday.
That is true.
They already, as of today, they traded two of their players. So that team's going to get dismantled. So that'll be an interesting game. And we'll also see how many Sharks players get traded because the trade deadline is a Monday.
That is true.
Next Monday, the 24th. So we could be looking a lot different too.
Yeah. Moving on from the New Jersey game, what do you think is going to happen there?
That should be a win. But, yeah, New Jersey's not good. Now, again, going back to what I think the Sharks should do, because they don't have that first-round pick, is they want to end up as high as they possibly can. Obviously, they want to try to make playoffs. It's not going to happen. They're going to fall short, but I want them to be there, close. Yeah. Like, I think it's 95, 96 points is usually like the kind of cutoff for the 8th place team. I'd be happy if they got to 85 to 90 points.
Okay.
That way they're kind of in the thick of things, not quite in the playoff team, but it's not going to be a top 10 pick.
Okay.
It'll be like a 14, 15 pick or so, right there. I'd be happy with that.
All right. Sounds good.
I wouldn't be as sad losing that pick, is what I'm saying.
So you think New Jersey, that's a slam dunk
I think
win?
it's a win. Should be a win.
Okay.
They're going to be in total turmoil because it's not the trade deadline yet.
Okay.
So they're all just waiting to get the call from the GM, right? That really messes with the chemistry of a team.
Aaron going very psychological on this one. I like that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Rangers? That's the next game is against New York
Rangers. Same thing. They're going to be selling off some of their players. They're kind of veteran players. They are a team trending upward, though. They are a younger team. Capo, what's his name?
Capo Caco.
Capo Caco, right? And then they have Panarin, the bread man.
Yep.
Is on the team. I think Chris Kreider is going to be on his way out. He's a pretty decent guy, but they also have the 3-headed monster in goal.
Goaltending, that's right.
Which everyone, I know a lot of Sharks fans are hoping for Georgiev. I'm always going to butcher that name.
So I hope back on the show.
I hope the Sharks don't trade for him because I'm never going to be able to pronounce his name. But I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what they do. It'll be interesting to see because they have 3 goalies right now. And they need to move one.
Sounds like New York might be trading some assets away, so maybe that's a team that
team that's going to be
might be a little bit easier for the Sharks to beat up on. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But I feel like they don't play very well at Madison Square Garden in their whole history. So that'll probably it's a tough place to play.
Fair enough. Moving on from that one, the New York Islanders are next. That's a Sunday game.
Following day. Yeah. Yep. So they followed up going to the Islanders. The Islanders, Barry Trott's team, man, very defensive minded. They don't score a lot of goals and they don't give up a lot of goals. So it's a game where you need to score first. If they don't score first, it's going to be lights out for them.
Okay.
That's. So I'm going to say 2 wins, New Jersey and the Rangers, and the loss to the Islanders.
Okay. That sounds good. I like that. That's kind of where I was going with that one too, actually, was the 2 wins against the Devils and the Rangers. So we'll see how that goes. Now, something to keep into mind here is that the Sharks, like I said, last week I said the Sharks were going to win all 3 games to give you guys hope. Well, they almost did that. They lost the first. But so on that week they went 2-1. However, in their last 5, they're actually won 4 of their last 5. Yeah, so they're 4-1 out of their last 5 games. So the Sharks, they're trending the right way at the wrong time.
I still just don't think it's going to be enough, but it'll be enough to not have a top 10 pick.
I think it'll be enough to move us out of the higher percentages of getting in the lottery, right, for the draft.
Right.
So that's
exactly.
I'm hoping for that. I'm really hoping to make playoffs and have a first-round exit, if that makes any sense whatsoever. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But regardless. So, the one thing I wanted to also bring up here is that this is the week that's going to have the majority of the trade stuff that we were just talking about, right? So, unfortunately, I will not be here for this next week. So, when something goes down, look to Aaron to kind of jump on top of that, hopefully right away, hopefully within the hour.
I'll be coming in the studio.
Not gonna happen.
May or may not have somebody with me. We'll see.
Yeah.
Someone replacing Paul. Someone much better looking.
Of course.
Be sure to tune in. Those will be live, so we're not going to do any recorded. It'll just be a live, so you can join us and talk Sharks hockey and talk about the trades. And I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be trades.
Yeah.
Most likely there will be. So, up until the trade deadline on Monday.
So I wanted to bring something up about trade rumors real quick because there's a lot of people that were saying, somebody, a reputable source, right? Somebody within, like even like guys like Elliot Friedman and whatnot, they're reporting on the thoughts of a reputable source. It's not the reputable source necessarily saying something. So be careful of words like believes, thinks, speculates, hypothesizes, if you want to get into bigger words. So there's a lot of words that are out there that will let you know that this is not something that is actual insider information.
Right.
It's what somebody who's really close and has done this a lot and has really good inside information about what teams might be looking for thinks is going to happen, and then people report on that. Right.
I mean, a lot of it is, hey, the Toronto Maple Leafs have a scout at the Sharks games. I bet they want Brendan Dillon.
Right.
And then takes off from there.
Right, and it's
right?
For a team that maybe is looking for a defenseman and they're scouting a team that's ready to give up a defenseman. Yeah, sure, throw that one out there. I mean, we have said, Joe Thornton, he looks like a good fit in Colorado, and one of these reports came out that Joe Thornton, somebody
Boston,
believes that he's going to be a good fit in Colorado or Boston, and it's like, well, we've said the same things. We're not claiming to be insiders at all. It's just that we're thoughtful. That's what it comes down to. So I just a kind of a caution for you guys, because I know a lot of you will look at these like traderumors.com type stuff, and anything that comes out, they're like,
right.
oh, but this guy said, so be careful of those words. Again, believes, thinks,
right.
Speculates, hypothesize, whatever else.
The Sharks have been generally pretty good about keeping a tight lip on anything. I mean, for one, if let's say there is kind of a trade talks in with a team and it falls through, but that leaks, right? Those players are going to hear about it.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, oh, wow, I was almost traded and then not. Like, what is that? How does that make you feel as a player?
Right.
You're like, wow, they don't want me here, or, whatever. So that kind of plays into the psyche too. So they really try and keep a tight lip on it. And I think Doug Wilson does a good job on it, because there's really nothing that comes out of the Shark stuff. Other teams are not so good. I think the Oilers and maybe even the Flames, they're not very good at keeping their stuff under wraps. So if there's ever a trade between the Sharks and there's stuff that's leaked, it's always from that end. It's never from the Shark side. So keep that in mind. You're never going to see anything from an insider on the Sharks, really.
And if you happen to see something with, like, say, from Elliot Friedman saying, I'm hearing this, that's different, right? That's him saying something that's actually going on. Not, I think, I believe, whatever else he's saying. I'm hearing, that's
and in today's
not to
world,
be taken lightly then,
Today's world of right now,
yes.
we need news right now, especially with Twitter. Everything comes out. Everyone wants to be that first person to say what it was.
Right.
It's because they want all the likes.
Yes.
And the retweets.
Yeah.
That's it. They just want to be first. It's like, man, I can read about it in an hour and I'll have the same reaction.
Right.
Cool. But
there you go. Okay, so moving on from the world of reality to the world of fantasy. Sounds like we're about to talk about Magic the Gathering here. Right. So you've got your two leagues here. How are we doing?
Here's the first league. I am still in third, but now climbing. I just destroyed the team 9-1 this last week, so that really jumped me up in the standings a little bit more, getting closer. And I think the first and second place teams might have lost, so gaining a little ground on there.
Nice.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, there's going to be playoffs at the end of this, so it's not really, you're just kind of jockeying for position at this point. And then going to the other league, League 2, still ahead, still in first place. And this week I actually met Gallant's right thumb.
Oh, that's right. I believe we have a picture, do we not?
The Sharks of the Sampling event. Yeah, we do. Here we post this on Instagram. Here's the picture of Gallant's right thumb. She came up and she recognized me right away. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you're from the Fin Factor." And I was like, "Yes, I am. Can I get a picture? Let's do it."
Absolutely.
And so I took a picture.
Very cool.
Yeah, we love meeting fans. So if you ever see us, don't be shy. We love to take pictures. We love to talk. Even if you don't want to take a picture, we'll just talk and hang out. And we love it.
Some of us will talk too much. But if you are going to take a picture with us, don't point at me. If you are going to take a picture with us, it would be awesome if you had, I don't know, a Fin Factor hat or a shirt on. So why don't you visit that website, thefinfactor.com, take a look at the support the show link, and because that is what you're doing, and you go ahead and pick yourself up one of those shirts. They are super soft, or one of those hats. They got the stitching that's very thick, pops off the hat, looks really, really good. Or just some stickers. Anything that you do purchase on there does help support the show. We want to say thank you again to the folks from the live this evening who gave us some super chat money. Really awesome of you. Thank you. Do appreciate it. And if you are not coming to the live shows, please do subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when we are going live, because it is a ton of fun.
It's fun.
I have a blast. And actually, I'm going to share this with you guys. Somehow we talking about Vegemite with a guy from Australia. He's sending us a can of Vegemite, so it's going to be awesome. We're going to eat Vegemite for the first time each on our next live, whenever that happens to be. And somehow the topic of smelling salts, I think I might have accidentally brought this one up.
You were talking about it.
And so here we got the box. I bought it on Amazon, and we're gonna do this. We were warned that we might be throwing up or something but doing this, so
and it'll be during the live too, so maybe we'll have a bucket or something.
We might have to do a please stand by having technical difficulties splash game.
Spew in this.
Okay, I think we've talked about spew enough for this episode. So for our super producer Jason, I am Paul,
And I am Aaron,
and we will see you guys
later,
probably sometime during the week, but it'll just be him.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, check out our other content, especially interviews. You can interact with us directly through social media at The Fin Factor and on Instagram at Fin Factor. And don't forget to join our live streams on YouTube.
Visit our website at thefinfactor.com, where you'll find all of our episodes as videos or podcasts. You'll also find our exclusive merchandise to help support our show.